Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we've been broadcasting live from CES 2020 for the last 3 days. And so today, we're going to take a look back at some of our favorite interviews from that time. Of course, we spoke with BrainCo. They were the winners of our Best of CES award for their amazing prosthetic arm you can control with your mind. We also are going to be talking to Michael Phelps. Replayed that interview. Some great celebrities. Becky Lynch, the People's Champion, was here on the show. So a lot of great things. We're just going to kind of revisit a bunch of that. And also, I want to reiterate that all of the information, all the news that came from CES is at digitaltrends.com/CES. So go there, read to your heart's content. There is so much tech news on there. But we're going to kick this off right now with an interview with BrainCo. So stick around. This is Digital Trends Live.
Hey, Digital Trends here, live on the show floor at CES, where there's a wealth of crazy gadgets, right? Smart TVs, cars, computers, all sorts of crazy stuff. But what we find the most impressive at Digital Trends is technology that actually changes people's lives. And in amidst all the televisions, in and around the electric cars, the self-driving vehicles, we found BrainCo Tech. I'm joined here by Max Newland, president of the company. We've awarded BrainCo Tech our top technology of CES 2020. Congratulations,
Thank
Max.
you, Jeremy. Thank you.
And we have the chief scientist, is that correct?
Yes.
We'd love to walk through what the product is. We're wowed by this. It's a brain-controlled prosthetic arm. Tell us what you guys have done.
Sure. So we've developed the world's most affordable AI-powered prosthetic hand that gives amputees control of the prosthetic just like you or I would control our hands.
So it's controlled by brainwaves?
That's right. So your motor cortex sends signals down through your nerves to control your muscles. The way the prosthetic works is the same way, except we're picking up those signals on the residual limb, and then we train the prosthetic to respond to the user's intentions so they can move individual fingers, they can really do anything that you or I would do.
So that sounds crazy. I'm instantly reminded of Star Wars and Luke Skywalker, obviously with a fake thing. This is a real thing. This is reality. Dr. Wu, tell us a little more. How does this exactly work? How is it built? Is there a thing here? Is there a thing that gets implanted in one's head? How does it work?
So it's not like an implantation. We put the sensors directly contact the skin, so there's no implantation. It's really neat for everybody to use it. And another thing is the sensor on here is very accurate and sensitive. We can pick out very tiny signals from the brain through the nerve to the muscle. We have all these different locations, so we can know which muscle or tendon is trying to move, so the user can directly move the way he's using it before. It's really natural and it's really unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, what's crazy is how natural it is. Although I notice there's a little bit of a lag. Is that something that's being worked on? Is that the system has to process and grow and improve?
Yes, so once the user uses more, it's more fast. And another thing I think is the user can control the speed. So the way he makes it slow is trying to grasp the things very stable and accurately. And later on, they can improve the speed as well. So it's not an issue.
Max, how long have you guys been working on this kind of technology?
So it's been in development for 3 years, and now in 2020 we're very happy and proud to announce that we're preparing for the FDA approval process, and we should have that complete by the end of 2020, so it'll be available on the market for amputees in the United States.
It's fantastic. It's astonishing. One of the things you told me that really blew me away was the cost structure that you guys are talking about. What's this going to cost?
So this prosthetic, we're targeting a price point between $10,000 and $15,000. Comparable systems can cost up to $75,000. So the mission here is to give the millions of amputees access to this technology so that they can improve their quality of life.
How do you do it at such a cheap rate? I mean, that just sounds like you've transformed the entire market. How do you do it so cheaply?
So there's two big innovations in this product. One is the way that we're processing the signals. That's what gives us better functionality. So you'll see the prosthetic kind of moving. You can see the fingers just moving like this, but that's kind of how you and I move our hands, right?
Yeah.
We're always kind of moving around a little bit. It's super intuitive. And then the second component is the manufacturing process. So we've redesigned core parts of this prosthetic hand to be able to drive the cost down, and working directly with the prostheticists around the country to deliver this to as many end users as possible.
What I love is that we've seen a lot of brain control, we've talked a lot of brain control here at CES for years.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's video games. It's how can I do a video, which doesn't seem all that meaningful to anyone's lives. And here you guys have taken that same technology, proved that it's real, and brought it to a meaningful place in people's lives.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This year for us is about moving from concept to reality.
Yeah.
So last year we talked about this concept. 2020 we're bringing it to reality.
So tell me about BrainCo, because you guys do more than just prosthetic limbs, right? There's a whole mindfulness component of analyzing brainwaves and doing more with them.
That's right. So BrainCo is a brain-machine interface company, which is a fancy way of saying we work on technology that connects the brain to the outside world.
Okay.
One way that we do that is with the prosthetics. The other way that we do that is with our neuroscience wearable. Kind of looks like a headband.
Okay.
And what it does is detect the subtle electrical signals coming out of your brain, and then we use some advanced machine learning algorithms to understand, is someone really concentrated? Are they relaxed? Are they meditating? And then we give positive reinforcement to help people achieve their cognitive wellness goals.
So what does that mean in a real world? Like, how do we use that in a real world scenario?
So I might have the headband on, I'll open up the app, and there'll be a little rocket ship on the screen. And in order to get the rocket ship to fly, what do I have to do? I have to get my brain into a focused state or perhaps a meditative state. And this is the type of training that we're doing with Olympic level athletes, with Formula One drivers, with students who have attention issues, or people like you or me who just want to kind of tune up their cognitive wellness goals. Yeah.
Sure. I can think of a lot of examples. You want to be mindful when you're in a car. You want to be aware of what's going on. That seems like a real obvious scenario.
Yeah.
But then also just students in various schools. How do you make sure that you're attentive and studying and being effective there?
Right. The key here is using it in the right place at the right time. We don't envision this as a product that people are wearing all day, every day. They're using it for targeted goals, like improving relaxation, improving focus, being more efficient at work or they're studying, things like this.
So, Dr. Wu, walk us through, how many prototypes have you built of this? There must be dozens of them, right?
Yes.
What's the, how many have you created? Is this, we have a real world example right here.
Yeah.
Are there a couple others of those where you've actually tested this out on real people?
We also have some accessories for people using chopsticks and also some other cool stuff. Because if you're using the hand to control chopsticks, it's really difficult, so we designed something. And also we designed armband for people to control some devices like lights or maybe like keyboard typing. So it's a kind of secret project we are still working on that.
You guys did a demo before of this man doing calligraphy with that arm, which I'm told is incredibly complicated. What's the nuance of doing calligraphy?
So the skill here is the amputees are figuring out new ways to use this device that we didn't really envision.
Okay.
So for example, they wanted to try calligraphy, so they figure out the right gesture on how to hold the brush perfectly so they can achieve their goal. Also, one of the people that we worked with, what did they figure out?
The flake gesture.
Yeah, so they figured out how to flick. So there's this is the first prosthetic that you can flick people with, which is just like, it speaks to the fact that the people we're working with are exploring this technology. They're finding new ways to use it. It's more and more natural.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so if you want to flick your little brother or sister, you got to buy this hand.
But what's great about that is it's just using it like it's an ordinary hand. There isn't any series of things you can, there aren't 5 things you can do. You can do whatever you
Because
can.
you can move each finger, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Anytime, very soon, yeah. You don't need to create a gesture, you just do it the way you want, like a normal hand. Yeah.
Remarkable stuff. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Top Tech of CES, finally awarded to BrainCo Tech. Congratulations, sir. Looking forward to this coming out in later this year, pending FDA approval, but we're really optimistic it's going to happen. Congratulations, Mac.
again.
Congratulations, Dr. Wu.
What's up, guys? Riley Wynn with Digital Trends. We're here at the South Hall at CES 2020. I'm here at the Cybershoes booth, joined by the CEO, Michael Phelps. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
So, for our audience who isn't aware of what Cybershoes are, can you tell us a little bit about the technology and what it is?
It's the first controller for your shoes for walking in virtual reality. So basically, it's a treadmill, but without the treadmill.
Okay, so we have a game ready to demo. We're going to play Doom, correct? So we're going to go through this, and as we're going through the demo, you guys will see my shoes, see me walking through the game, and we're going to ask Michael some questions. So let's get to it, all right?
All right.
Turn around. Sorry, Carl, we got to turn around. All right, so we're in Doom. So this is the one game we're playing right now. But how many games are you guys actually in?
We have now 38 games, and we are adding each month 5 games.
Okay. And so, for the people watching on the screen, if you look at my feet right now, I'm going through and I'm actually running. And so it really makes everything a lot faster. And so, Michael, you were telling me earlier that not only is it going to step you through the game, but it actually keeps like a step, like a pedometer of how many steps you take during a game, right?
Yeah, the distance you're running. So because we think it's really cool that you have doing some activity and some little workout while being gaming.
Uh-huh. And how many steps have you guys done so far at CES 2020?
Was 10 miles yesterday evening.
10 miles.
Yeah.
Wow. That is insane. So we have this game, and then how many games again are you guys on?
38 games.
38 games.
Next one will be Saints and Sinners.
And then with the headsets, because that's part of it, it's all VR. That's what makes the experience so cool and crazy. So are you guys just on certain headsets, or do you have multiple headsets that you can connect with?
We are on all PC headsets. That means we are keeping a spreadsheet across 7 headsets and also the Oculus platform.
Okay.
So before a customer buys a game, they will know if it's going to be playable with the Cybershoes. So part of our job is making the settings and making and tweaking the game so it's really good to play.
Yeah, so I've done VR in the past, and the thing, Michael, I think that I like the most about this is it makes everything so much faster. Like, what inspired this to make VR even more intense? Holy crap. What inspired you guys to make VR more intense with this? Like, where'd you get this idea?
Well, actually, it was clear that when you start just on one spot, I mean, VR won't be intense at all. I mean, VR is a huge space, and it's about experiencing and stepping into the game with your whole body, and not just with your fingers. I mean, that's not gonna be a full immersive experience.
And then you guys also have other applications besides playing games, right?
Yeah, we've been really astonished. We had have a friend, and she has multiple sclerosis, and we invited her playing with the Cybershoes, and second time there she was really so much astonished that she could feel like walking like before her disease. So this is really some very cool application, very positive application. We would love to continue and getting more scientists to work with us on that field.
Yeah, so
also for rehabilitation after strokes. Yeah.
So for the people watching, the way it feels, really, it feels like you're moonwalking in roller skates. It's a really weird feeling. And Michael, when people want to play this, do they have to have certain carpet? Like, can you play on wood floors? Like, if I wanted this in my home, what do I need?
So the gaming station and all Cybershoes come with the carpet because that way we can ensure the quality of the quality is really much the same, because this carpet is also very easy to move your feet on. Yeah. The
Okay.
gaming station comes with the chair.
Okay. So the gaming station, the chair, the carpet,
Yeah.
you need all that to make it work. So no pun intended, but what's the next step for Cybershoes? Where do you guys see the future of your technology?
Well, next step is we are really in love with the Oculus Quest headset because it's so much easy to use. So we're gonna set up a connection in the beginning for B2B clients, but then when we're building up more content, we'll open it up next year also for consumers.
Yeah, this technology is amazing. It makes VR even more intense. Like VR, it's already in your face. You're in this new world. but you are fully submerged. You're running in this world, and I think it's really crazy, really fun stuff. So thank you for showing it with us.
Thank you. You're a good gamer. You're really good.
Hey, I killed everyone, right?
Yeah, you did. Amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? So if you guys want more CES coverage, go over to digitaltrends.com/CES or stay tuned for Digital Trends Live.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live, here covering CES 2020 in Las Vegas at our ARIA headquarters. And you know, one of the great things about CES is you never know who you're going to get to talk to. And I have to say, we are very excited about who we're going to talk to next year on the show. We have a champ, we have a superstar joining us. To start off, I'm Greg Nibbler, here with Riley Wynn. And joining us is WWE superstar, the champ, the man. It is Becky Lynch. Becky, hello.
Thank you for having me.
I have to go straight into my announcer voice, just even saying your
It
name.
was
It's
wonderful.
Okay,
I
thank you very much.
appreciate it.
It's my audition. So WWE, now you heard it. But Becky, thank you so much for joining us. So what brings WWE and you to CES?
So this is my first time at CES, by the way. Yeah, it's huge. It's colossal. I'm very
So
excited.
much.
I'm hoping I'll find a robot to wrestle. So we have a booth here. We have some speaking engagements. We've got meetings. We've got a whole WWE lineup going on.
Nice. And so coming here into something like this, and just with WWE in general, you know, we talk about tech here. We want to talk about a lot of different things. But for you in particular, I always am curious, like, at what point in your life did you have this switch where you're like, okay, I want to be a professional wrestler?
Oh,
Was there a moment?
There were several moments in different ways. So the catalyst for me getting into wrestling was I was 15 and I failed PE. And this is ridiculous, Rebecca. I think you passed by showing up, and I showed up. And so I decided, I was like, I want to get fit, but I was an unconventional kid. I was a little bit of a little rocker kid, and the gym seemed too mainstream for me. So I found out they were opening the first wrestling school in Ireland. I was like, oh, I love wrestling. Let me go along to that. They're all fit. If I do that, then I'll get fit. So it was an incentive for me to just get in shape. But the idea of being a WWE superstar, that was, come on. Like, be realistic.
Right.
It's nice to have dreams, but you're this chubby kid who failed PE. You don't be dreaming about that stuff. But I fell in love with it, no matter how bad I was. And believe me, I was awful. I just worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I left home. And God, that year I left home to train in England, and then when I was 18, dropped out of college, moved to Canada, wrestled around there, wrestled around Japan, wrestled around America, wrestled around Europe, and then I gave it up for 7 years, as you do. When I was 19, I was trying to figure out all these different things. I was like, maybe wrestling isn't for me, because at the time, they didn't have women that were doing what I'm doing right now, so there was nobody for me to look at and say, oh, that's what I want to do. So I gave up on the whole thing and did everything that I thought I might be interested, whether it was acting, whatever. I was working as a stunt woman, and it was actually from that is how I ended up getting signed, because I blagged my way onto a stunt set. I was working on, the show The Vikings.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my friends, speaking of digital things, one of my friends hacked into one of my other friends' computer and found the contact for The Vikings, because our one friend wouldn't give out the details to all of us failed actors, and so anyway, I contacted them, and my resume my resume read with all these just different athletic things, ironically, seeing as I failed P. But just in those 7 years, I just tried everything, whether it was scuba diving, horse riding, whatever, and they were like, oh, this is clearly a stunt woman. So when I got the call, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I went down to wrestling school, and when I was wrestling down there, the coach was like, you ever gone for a WWE tryout? I was like, nah, man, I'm doing my stunt thing. And he was like, I think you should go. I think you'd get it.
So you just went for a
Then
tryout?
I went for a tryout, and when I went in for that tryout, I just knew. I was like, there is no way that everything that has happened in my life up until now hasn't led me to this.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm meant to do. For a lack of a better term, it felt like my calling.
Wow, that is
Amazing.
incredible. Yeah, to find it through all of those different ways to get there.
Yeah, and like you talk about all the stunts and all the, extreme stuff you were doing. Getting into wrestling, it's not just the wrestling. There's the promo aspect, which is really, it's my favorite part about it. Like all the stuff outside the ring. How was that transition for you of like learning how to do that?
So for me, I love that part. Ever since I was a little kid, I told my mom I wanted to be an actor. She had one of my aunts who had been an actor on an Irish soap opera. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Glen Rowe. It's a soap opera about farmers, as you would expect in Ireland.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, she told me about the tough life of an actor. So I was like, okay, well, I love talking, I love arguing, so I'll be a lawyer. So then all the way, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And when I started wrestling, I loved that part, the talking part. And then when I finished wrestling, that was the part that I missed. And I went back to college. I studied acting. I got my degree in acting. I studied clown. I studied all these different aspects.
Did you say clown?
I did. I studied the art of clown. I did my thesis on the art of clown. And just all these different aspects of performance, because that is just so important to what we do. Because an audience, they can like your match and they can think it's cool. But if you can't tell a story and let them know what your voice is and what your message is, then you're missing just such a huge section.
Well, and like Riley said, that's what one of the amazing things about WWE, and just even going all the way back. Like, did you watch it as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Who were your favorites?
Well, when I was a little kid, it was, I know that they say you can't have both, but it was the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I was a teenager, the person that hooked me in was Mick Foley. And
yeah.
it was because of the
Saka.
way he talked, right? He was just so sympathetic, and I would hang on every single word, and just the way he would talk, the emotion, and his match against Triple H when it was the Hell in a Cell, and we had to retire because he lost. That was the first time I cried from wrestling,
wow.
and I was like, oh, I'm invested. I am invested.
So you were really into the Attitude Era.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. That's
Weren't we
awesome.
all?
So speaking of that, Stone Cold,
Yes,
you got to Stone Cold stunner him on his show.
I sure did.
What was that like? Because
he
that's
deserved it.
every person's dream.
He deserved it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. God, the whole of last year was just pretty cool. Well, like, what is this? From one thing to the other, from winning the Royal Rumble to main eventing WrestleMania, stunning Stone Cold Steve Austin, doing a promo with The Rock and kicking some ass. It was just, last year was pretty incredible.
That's amazing. Well, looking at it now, now that you have the belt and everything that goes on with WWE and the promotion, what is it like with you and the other people that you work with? Like, what's that interaction like?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends how much I've destroyed them in the ring and on social media. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's easy working with people. Sometimes it's like anything.
Yeah.
It's like any job in or any walks of life. You're gonna have your conflicts with people. I think what happened with me when I really started standing out was that I realized. So we had this women's evolution, this revolution, everything like that, and it was all very supportive, and which is what you need behind the scenes. But in front of the scenes, I didn't want any of that. I was like, the guys aren't doing this. The guys aren't like brushing each other's hair and propping each other up on social media, telling everybody how great they're doing. No, everybody's trying to. What we're selling is conflict, right? The story of conflict. How do I sell that to the best of my ability? Okay, I might only have 5 minutes on TV, maybe 10 minutes if I'm lucky, but I have this live microphone at my fingertips whenever I want. So I really use social media to try and tell that story, right? Because story is everything. Story is what we do in WWE. Story is how we live as society. But story was really the way that I could make my way to WrestleMania, and I could use that to constantly tell my story. So sometimes I'd get a little underhanded in some of my tweets. Some people probably didn't take that too kindly. But at the end of the day, what I was doing was selling the story and making people care and making people invested. The fact of the matter was that they were so much that we had to be the main event of WrestleMania.
Right.
And that people cared so much that they were still there 8 hours later.
Yeah, so the WrestleMania, it was the first time that women had headlined the event, and you won both the SmackDown and Raw title. What was that like? I mean, winning both is amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost too big to grasp. So I remember going in, though, on the day, feeling cocky as hell, like just strutting around going, this is my WrestleMania. And I walked past Hulk Hogan, you know, who I'd been watching as a little kid. And I was like, hey, Hulk, see, this is my day. You know? and probably that with everybody that I passed, whether they wanted to hear it or not. And then when I went to everybody, but the one advice everybody always gives you, soak it in, soak it in. So when I'm out there, I'm just trying to soak it in. But it's so big, like, and you've just won 2 championships on a historic night. There's fireworks going off. My dad was in the front row, and it was just amazing. My whole family was there, and it's hard to really let it sink in.
Right.
I don't know if it even has now.
Right. Yeah, it's probably something that'll be years to
Yeah.
really let that sink in.
Yeah, I'll sit back when I'm old like the lady in Titanic and go, cool.
I have kind of a random question as well. So this is one thing like I've always wanted to ask like a professional wrestler. So if you could tag team with one person dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, good question. You know, and I always get asked this question, and then I never know the answer to this question. Because there's so many people, right? There's so many people. I mean, Shawn Michaels is somebody that comes to mind, but then Mick Foley is somebody that comes to mind. So do you know what? Seeing as I said that Mick Foley's the person that got me in, I'm going to say Mick Foley.
Yeah, if he made you cry, I mean...
He did make me cry.
Would probably be a good partner.
Yeah. Is Mick Foley your favorite of all time?
So for different reasons, probably. It's hard to say because I've got so many for different reasons.
Right.
Like Dynamite Kid is one for, you know, just for his wrestling ability. Tiger Mask is another one. But then Mick Foley is, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Macho Man. But,
Oh, okay, all right.
I gotta go Macho Man.
Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course,
100%.
of course.
Well, talking about social media, I just want to go back to that because you mentioned that, about telling your story and how important that is for you. So which platforms are you on the most? Do you like the most for that aspect?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram.
She's on
Recently, I've quieted down a little bit. So the way that I used it going up the whole way was tell this story, and I was punching up, right? I was the underdog. I was the one that had to prove myself. So I really used social media as that way, like, nobody can mess with me. If you try to get into any sort of war of words, I will destroy you. I will destroy you and suck your soul right out of you. So I would use that as a way to prove myself. And then I realized if you do it too much, nobody comes at you anymore, and it kind of gets very quiet.
So you gotta bait them a little bit?
Yeah. So you gotta let people win every now and again. But it was all about telling that story. And there's so much content out there. There is so much content. So it's how do you stay entertaining? How do you brand yourself, but also have other people brand you? Because I feel like you've got to kind of throw stuff out and see what people latch onto, and then let the people brand you and let them build the story around you, and then let them prop you up. Because look, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere if it wasn't for that audience support. It was all about the audience supporting me and pushing me on my way, and kind of use social media as a way to elect myself into the main event, if you will.
With that storyline, so I've always wondered this too, because like with the WWE, they have their creative team that helps create that storyline. How involved like when you first started, how involved were you compared to now on like creating that story, that brand of you, the man?
So oftentimes creative have their way of doing things, but they're also looking at so many different people, right? That you can often get forgotten about. And especially me, when I wasn't doing anything, it was very easy for them to miss little nuances. That's what people are so interested in right now, you know? It's nuances, it's character development. So that was kind of more on me, like, how do I develop that? So creative, give me a broad storyline, let me work on the details. Because look, I'm obsessed with this. This is what I think about all day, every day. And I've only got one person to think about. They've got everybody to think about. They can forget about me or whatever, but it's my job to make sure that whatever I do, I can tell a story, and that's all it is. So if I have to go on .com, our digital platform, if I have to cut a promo on my Instagram or Twitter, whatever, let me do that so that I can tell the story to the best of my ability. Because even though we have 3 hours on Monday or 2 hours on a Friday, and it's, you know, we've got 7 hours of live TV, sometimes it's easy for people to miss your story. So you got to make it. You gotta do whatever you can, use whatever avenues that you can to make it the best that you possibly can, so that people tune in. Because there is so much content.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, to stand out over that.
Speaking of those
something.
promos, what's your favorite one you've done?
Oh, I don't know. I've done so many great ones. So many classics. I'm Becky Lynch, goddamn. I don't know. So maybe the one that sticks out the most for me is the one that I cut after SummerSlam, and I don't know whether or not it was the best or not. But for me, it was just so filled with angst and emotion of all the years of being neglected and overlooked and proving myself time and time again. The rug constantly being pulled out from under me. And so when I cut that promo, there was just so much real anger. I'm all about giving the emotion out. What's the real emotion? So I think that. And then that kind of set me on my way of being the man.
Well, going back to just what we talked about at the very beginning, just you at your, starting off and not having to go through all these different routes to get to where you are right now, what recommendation would you have to somebody out there who has a dream, to maybe be in WWE? I mean, somebody else is, somebody can get in. What recommendation would you have for them?
Oh, work your ass off and just keep going, I think with wrestling especially, you know the formula, right? You know the formula. You know that if you look great, that if you can wrestle great, that if you work on your promos, if you can talk great, if you can be interesting and have charisma and have a personality, and you go out and you work and get better and make people notice you, you will get to where you want to go. And so oftentimes when I see people talking about wanting to be a wrestler, but maybe they've never lifted a dumbbell in their life, or they're not working on their craft, they're not studying the art, they're not watching as much tape as they can. I just kind of scratch my head and go, what's required to get here, and it's just hard work. Look, and it's pretty much the same thing with everything. If you just work as hard as you possibly can, the odds are much, much greater.
Well, Becky, thank you so much for joining us here today on
Thank
Digital
you.
Trends. Really appreciate it. And this has just been awesome. So thank you to everybody who's tuning in live. This is Digital Trends. We're covering all of CES 2020. We just talked to the champ, the superstar. So we've got a lot coming up, though. We've got a lot happening here with Digital Trends Live.
up, guys? Drew Prindle here with Digital Trends. I am at CES, but I am not on the show floor for once. We're actually up in the Venetian Towers right now. I'm here with Sean Frayne, the CEO and co-founder of Looking Glass Factory. We're going to check out your guys' crazy 3D volumetric display.
Holographic display.
Holographic display. So let's just go check it out right now. We've got it behind us. And so this is different from most holographic displays that I think a lot of people are used to seeing, right? Because normally it's like you'll have either like an illusion, like Pepper's Ghost or something like that, or you have to wear goggles or glasses of some sort in order to see it. But this is something different, right?
Yeah, so this is our new Looking Glass 8K holographic display. So this works through our proprietary light field technology, which basically is a fancy way of saying that we produce many dozens of different views of a three-dimensional scene simultaneously every 60th of a second, and then pump those out into the world so that without having to put on a VR AR headset, a group of people can see and interact with genuinely three-dimensional content.
Wow. So
you can see here that this little squid guy is coming out. He's actually coming out of the display.
And depending on where you move in the room, I don't know if you guys can see this who are watching right now, but if you move around from side to side, you can actually get like a kind of a different vantage point of this thing. And this is without any glasses or any like special, it's kind of mind-blowing. This is the first time I've actually seen one of these in the flesh. I've seen videos on YouTube, but of course that's just like, a 2D representation of what's going on.
Well, and there have been so many folks who have faked those in some way over the years.
Yeah.
So this is, we think is the real deal.
Yeah. So can you like dig into like the nitty-gritty of how it's capable of sending different visual information? It seems like it kind of reminds me, like, does it work similar to one of those little like holographic cards that you had as a kid where it's like kind of sending different wavelengths of light in different directions, or like how does this work?
Yeah, like in a very, very, very broad brushstrokes way. Yeah, but so the technology that powers it, I'll put something else up here too that's easier to film.
Whoa. Oh my God, that's a really,
that's
you
me.
can see through the magnifying glass. You gotta get that.
Maybe if you step back
This
here, it
is
might be
a
better to
trip.
film.
That is insane. I mean, that really makes it pop when I think you really get the full 3D effect of that right there.
Yeah, so the way that this works is, again, with our proprietary light field technology. So normal displays, every display that's ever been developed up until now, like the screens on the phones in your pocket or the projection at a local movie theater, they shine with pixels that have two properties of intensity and color. But the real world works through light that has a third property of direction. And so the Looking Glass 8K adds that third property to 100 million subpixels, meaning that we have 100 million little dots of light that have directionality to them. And that means we can recreate everything that exists in the real world that makes the real world real, like the three-dimensional aspects of the real world, specular reflections, or things like the optical refraction through this magnifying lens.
That's absolutely fascinating. So this one down here was your first generation product, right? And this is the new one. You guys just recently announced this, correct?
Yep, just announced it. Shipping spring 2020. A lot of the areas that this is going to move into are 3D medical imaging, things like future of communication, areas like computational chemistry. We still sell thousands of the desktop units. And that gives folks who are developers that are excited about what the future of holographic display could be, as well as folks who are in some of those industries that are looking to get into the holographic game. It gives them a way to test out and verify that this is the real deal.
Yeah. Is that who this is mostly for, is kind of people who are testing it and like developing and animating and just want to play with stuff like this?
Well, that's what the desktop units have been for when we started shipping a year ago. But with the Looking Glass 8K, it's now transitioned to holographic display, being able to do real work in some of those areas.
That's wild. So I also see that you've got this Leap Motion pad,
right?
And you were just playing with it right there, so you can kind of move the flame around in this.
Yeah, your hand's up here, the frog is following the flame. And this was one of the first demos someone on our team, Oliver, made, and continues to be pretty special.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. Do you have anything else to like show off that's kind of like mind-blowing? Let's just like, run through.
You want to see something truly? This is a CES special here.
Yeah, no, I am all for it.
So if you come on over, I'm going to shut off this light here.
You're looking at the astronaut right here.
So that's not all. So if you come over here, you can check it out. So I'm going to flip on this light, which is connected to a tracking device that's typically used with VR headsets, Vive Tracker. But we've attached it to this flashlight for fun, and now it's going to shine this virtual light into the looking glass. And there's no light actually on. This is all completely virtual.
You've got to be kidding me.
So this was developed by a couple of folks in our team, Albert and Oliver, special for CES, and really shows, in my view, more than anything else we or anyone has done before, the potential of a true holographic window that connects the real world in an unseen digital space.
So I know you guys are targeting, like, you know, you mentioned like the medical field, and like earlier it was kind of just like animators and other people who are kind of just on the forefront of their industry. Is there like a roadmap for this to ever be like a consumer product that people are going to have in their homes, and like instead of a TV, like perhaps?
Well, I think it's going to replace a lot of things in folks' homes and add a lot. So you can imagine a holographic avatar eventually that speaks with the voice of Alexa, that's hosted in holographic form in a looking glass. Or your kids doing their homework and learning about how photosynthesis really works in a holographic display. So the answer is yes. Our company is founded on the idea, the principle that holographic display will be the primary way that everyone interacts with three-dimensional content for the next few decades.
Yeah, this is like really seeing this in the flesh is like a whole different ballgame than just seeing like the demo reels, which were impressive on your guys' like YouTube channels and stuff, but like you really don't get the full 3D effect until you're here in person. So honestly, thank you so much for giving us this rundown. I think that does it for the time that we've got here in the Venetian booth checking out Looking Glass. But if you guys want to check out more CES coverage, stay tuned to Digital Trends Live, or you can just go over to digitaltrends.com/CES.
Live at CES 2020. We're here with Laura Haddock DiCarlo, excuse me, the founder and CEO of Laura DiCarlo, a microrobotics and sexual health company. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much nailed it.
Thank you. Well, we're here. You're back.
Actually, no, we're not back. We
You're
weren't
not
allowed
back.
to be here at the show last year. So this is our first time exhibiting here at CES.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
So this is your first CES then, technically.
Yeah, I mean, we were here last year, but we weren't here at the show. It's really exciting to be here, actually, because we see a lot of sex tech that is here within health and wellness, because we know that sexual health and wellness is just that. It's health and wellness. So it's exciting to see the last year, all the work that we've done and all of that coming to fruition. Because we were afforded the ability to have a conversation with the CTA and really send home the importance of sexual health and wellness and how that intersects with technology. And now we see a much more inclusive, respectful show. I think they're really doing this very beautifully. It's very tastefully done. And we're excited because we feel like we've been agents of change in this space.
It definitely sounds that way. So for those who don't know, which are probably very few at this point, you were kicked out of CES. Well, not let in, and then you were given an award. Yeah. Please clarify.
We were given an award. Then the award was actually revoked on the basis that they found it to be profane or obscene or immoral. And that was immoral. It was really, that was a hard pill to swallow, because it was shocking for us, because we find female sexuality, particularly all human sexuality, to be something that's very sacred. So they took our award away, and then they banned us from the show. And when we took the story and we put it on the wire, and we got an international amount of support all over the world. And then the CTA, the Consumer Technology Association, came back to us a couple of months later and said, let's have a conversation. We want to apologize. We made a mistake, and we should have never taken your award away. And we said, let's have a bigger conversation about the importance of sexual health and wellness, and let's bring it back to the show, and let's do it right. And so we were able to change policies, bring sex tech back, and now you see it here, and that's where it belongs. It belongs in health and wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I guess, I hope what they realized in the end is that this isn't just a toy, it's about sexual health.
Yeah,
right?
it's a very innovative product, actually. We utilize micro-robotics in order to create biomimicry so that people can understand more about their own bodies and really kind of fine-tune and figure out exactly where their pleasure points are. And when you know more about your own body, you can actually turn around and you can also tell your partner, hey, this is what I like. That brings people closer together. But it took us 2 years to bring this product to market. We have a full team of engineers. We partnered with Oregon State University, who happens to be the top 4 robotics graduate program in the country. And we've been able to create this product over time with that team. We brought that team in to Laura DiCarlo, and now we have a team of, we're coming up on 30 now. We're only 2 years old, and we've made that very, very complex product. There's over 250 parts in our first product, OSE. That's more parts in the product than there are bones in the human body.
This is really robotics.
Really complex. We actually went to our manufacturers. It took us longer than we thought because our manufacturers didn't know how to manufacture it because it had never been done before. So now we're back. They gave us our award back. And we also got 2 more innovation awards because we have 2 new products.
That's right. So I just want to say, Digital Trends is actually based in Portland, so we're glad to be in some small way related to you and what you're doing there. So that's cool. Good for Oregon, right?
Right, absolutely. And you know what? I think they're being very progressive. All of our funding, we had a lot of angel investment come in, but part of our funding actually came from a grant from the state of Oregon.
Oh, wow.
One of the first, I think we were probably the first company in sex tech to get any kind of federal or state funding because we're creating new jobs and we're creating new technology.
That's big. Sexual health got a federal grant.
No,
Oh,
Oregon did it because Oregon's a little more progressive, I think.
Sure. Sovereign states and whatnot. So now you're back with 2 new products. Tell us a little bit about those.
So we have 2 products, Onda, which means rolling wave in Italian, and Baci, which means kiss in Italian. And when you look at them, yes, it looks like we've actually taken our 2 products and separated it out into 2 products from OSE. But what's important here is that we actually surveyed over 1,500 people, and we asked them, what is it that they, what are the sensations you want? How do you want to be pleasured? We also asked them a lot about, what kind of, how is your communication with your partner? And all of these things. And we found that people actually really wanted a product that was OSE and broken down into 2 different products. They wanted the ability to have a standalone product and so that they could discover more about their own bodies. But what's also fun is that we took that information and we have another 2 products coming out in about Q2 this year that do completely different things, and they're completely different from what you see here. So we have this family of products that are going to be hitting the market this year. And additionally to that, not only do these products help you learn more about your own body, but we create a lot of content. We bring in experts from all over the place in order to create quality content and education so people can get that education, because we can't get it really anywhere, can we? We don't get a lot of sexual health education.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have this in the companion app?
So we don't have an app yet.
Okay.
So that's the one caveat. We are not experts in Bluetooth capability and connection and apps yet. We are experts in microrobotics. We wanted to make the perfect product and do the best to our ability to make this product come to market. And then we wanted to do the Bluetooth connectivity, the app connectivity. And the reason we haven't done it yet is because we wanted that expertise in-house, because we wanted to do it right the first time. Not just a seamless, awesome app that connects to our product, but we wanted to do data security the right way. And that takes time and concentration, and we want to do it right the first time.
Absolutely. So you have 2 new awards with these 2 new products, that's correct?
Yes, we do. 2 new innovations awards. What's fun is that since OSE won last year, and these 2 won this year, they allowed OSE from 2019 to be in the showcase. So we have 3 products in the innovation showcase here at CES today.
Congratulations on that. Very cool. So you were actually in med school when this all started, right?
I was pre-med, actually. I was at Portland. Before that, I was actually a nurse. I was a Navy nurse, and I spent over a decade in healthcare. And then after that, I ended up in Portland, and I was pre-med, and then that's when I had this kind of orgasmic revelation.
Right. You said you wanted to design the perfect orgasm.
Basically, because I had this orgasm and it landed me on the floor, and all I could think was, how do I do that again? And then I thought, how do I do it again by myself? And then I went looking for the product that would do it.
And then you made it.
It didn't exist, but it didn't exist. So, and then I went looking for the data that I would need in order to design a product like this. And that didn't exist either. So then I had to go start asking people questions about their sexual health, about where their anatomical structures were, where the clitoris was, their G-spot was. And that was at first it's an awkward conversation when you ask somebody that. But I did discover 3 things about these people. This was 5 years ago. And I asked people, about their anatomical structures, and they went, at first they were ashamed, and then they were excited to talk about it. They wanted to talk about sexual health. And the second thing was that they didn't know where their spots were. I had to teach a lot of people. And then the third thing was when I told them what I wanted to make, they got really excited. And that's when I realized there was a market for this product and there was a problem to be solved. So what we made was a product that actually does 3 things. I wanted to do this where we actually utilize biomimicry, and we're emulating that come hither motion. And I wanted something that truly fit multiple different kinds of people. So I had to have that data in order to know exactly how to make something that could fit multiple different kinds of bodies. This is very strong, so that I also wanted to make something that could fit and stay put. We wanted it to be hands-free.
Sure.
That's just what it does.
And so obviously you got a lot of data doing this. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask a sexual expert just to debunk a couple quick myths about female sexual health or the female orgasm or sexual health in general.
Yeah. Everybody has a G-spot. Everybody is capable of having orgasms. Many people that tested this thought that they were broken or they couldn't have certain kinds of orgasms, and discovered that they could. And we discovered that everybody is absolutely different. We had pelvic angles that were shaped like this, and people that had it fit just like this and it stayed put. That tells you how varied bodies are. And it didn't matter what you looked like on the outside, everybody was different on the inside.
And that's why the communication is so important, and why communication between the partners and communication to the rest of the world, what's going on and what you are entitled to do and to feel and to enjoy.
Yeah, and we really just want to ask everybody, who owns your pleasure? Because if it's not you, who does, and what could you do if you had that power all to yourself?
Absolutely. Well, Laura, it was a pleasure talking with you. Congratulations on your successful return and launch. Thank you. If you want to learn more about this, check out digitaltrends.com/CES. Laura, again, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us. This is our CES 2020 coverage going all day long, bringing you all the latest news in technology. And last year, we had a winner of Best Tech of CES, and that was Impossible Foods. And we're going to have a conversation about that right now and what they're bringing to the table. But first, I'm Greg Nibbler with Maud Garrett.
Yeah, now Impossible Foods was first known as like Impossible Burger, where the patty was meatless, using this technology where it tasted like meat and it looked like meat, but it wasn't. Not only is this great for vegetarians and vegans, but also for the environment. And to talk more about the extension of Impossible Foods going into not only sausages, but pork, we've got the CEO here, Pat Brown. How are you?
Good, thank you.
This is exciting. Obviously, like it started off with just the burger, but when you thought, why burger when we can go further and further?
Of course. I mean, our mission has always been to completely replace animals as a food production system by 2035. And it goes without saying that that means that we have to produce all the foods, essentially all the categories of foods that today we make using animals, and introduce them into global markets. And of course, the most consumed meat globally is pork.
Well, one of the things with that you did with the Impossible Burger, and I think that's very important to note, is getting that texture right. Because that's the texture and the flavor is something really important. I'm a meat eater myself, but I love Impossible Foods.
You are the target consumer.
And that's it. And I love Impossible Foods because it tastes it's really good. I mean, it's just very good. And it has that same texture. And, it kind of makes sense. Like, why not go to that? Because it's better in so many ways.
Why eat a germ-laden, antibiotic-pumped, ground-up cadaver when you can have a delicious, nutritious, sustainable burger made from plants?
Pat, you're a vegetarian or a vegan?
Well, my diet's entirely plant-based, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I love that. 'Cause I love that you can. I kind of wish more children were educated about where meat comes from, because there's always such a disassociation for what meat is and what animals are, and that crossover almost doesn't exist.
Yes.
I am recently a vegetarian.
Oh,
again.
good for you.
Thank you. I'm giving it a red hot go anyway. So for me, I think it's really important not only to kind of like eat better, but to help the environment and to help save animals' lives.
Well, the use of yes, all of those things are any one alone is reason enough to have a plant-based diet, as far as I'm concerned. But of course, that's not persuasive to someone who loves meat, and consumers should have the right to choose, and that makes it our job to create meat that consumers prefer, that consumers value more than the product that's made from animals. That's not something that's been done before. Veggie burger was always intended for vegetarians. Our product, for us to achieve our mission, to completely eliminate the use of animals as a food technology, we have to do a better job of delivering everything that meat consumers want, or it doesn't matter.
Well, talking about the technological side, I mean, the Impossible Burger, was a huge achievement in that, right? That's why we named it Best Tech of CES last year.
Thank you. That was a great honor.
I mean, it really was, and it was deserved because of the science and technology that went behind it, and that was solving one of those. And you're talking about going through every kind of meat product, eventually by 2035 to replace that out of what we're eating, and fish even. So, talking about that from a technological standpoint, what were some of the challenges of creating pork and sausage that you had to overcome in order to get that?
Patty,
yeah, it's a very interesting question, because I think that if you don't think about it, you might think that kind of like, in a way, pork is just like dilute beef or something like that.
Right.
It's actually a distinctly different flavor profile, and the underlying biochemistry is almost identical, but the subtle differences are easy for a meat lover to distinguish. And texture as well. The texture of pork is distinctly different from beef, and so those are both significant technical challenges, but we have an awesome team of scientists who love that kind of challenge, and this is what they live for.
What are they mainly made out of?
Well, actually, both products, the single main ingredient is a particular protein that we isolate from soy. It's actually, soy doesn't get the respect it deserves, but it's got a amino acid profile, kind of like the protein quality profile, that's identically good to beef, and obviously vastly more efficient. I'll just, as a tangent, sorry, the world's soybean crop is grown on 0.8% of Earth's land area. The animal agriculture industry occupies almost 50% of Earth's land area. All the cities in the world could fit on 1% of Earth's land area. So anyway, the soy crop uses a relatively small amount of land, but it contains 160% as much protein as all the meat consumed globally. Okay, it's actually an incredibly resource-efficient, land-efficient way to produce very high-quality protein. So that's our major protein source. Then the fat comes from sunflower oil and coconut oil. And actually, the particular oil composition is one of the important determinants of pork versus beef flavor.
Oh, right.
And then our critical ingredient, sort of the magic ingredient, is a heme protein. It's a protein in the same family as hemoglobin, which carries oxygen in your blood. It's heme is what makes meat red, but what we discovered is that it's the critical catalyst that takes simple nutrients like amino acids, vitamins, and sugars, and catalyzes chemistry that transforms them into the explosion of flavor and aroma that you get when you cook meat, and also creates the bloody flavor of meat and so forth. That's true for pork as well as beef. So kind of like the basic biochemistry is similar, but it's kind of like the same, you use the same ingredients to paint whatever picture you want, you know. But the differences in how they're used really make all the difference in the sensory experience.
Well, talking about the differences of use, when it comes to the Impossible Pork, let's get into the actual product itself. So is this, like, when somebody is getting this, where can they get it, or where is it available now, I guess?
I saw it in noodles.
In noodles, or
the Don Don noodles.
Or
Yes.
like what kinds of forms does this product take?
Well, actually, so the one of our design principles for both our ground beef and the pork product is that it has to be able to perform in all the applications that the animal-derived product performs in. Otherwise, consumers will be disappointed, which is, you know, that's not how you succeed. And so last night we were serving it in dumplings, in banh mi, in little bao sandwiches, Don Don noodles, kind of trying to showcase the full range of applications. Yeah, it was awesome.
That versatility
you
is so key.
You haven't tried it.
I haven't. I know.
You poor guy.
I've been here.
We have to get this guy
both
a
of us
delicious banh mi sandwich for sure.
And with the sausage as well. No, I really want to get in on this.
Even though you're vegetarian, you're going to love it.
Well, no, I'm a very newly vegetarian, and I think that this is the best way to go from a meat eater to a non-meat eater. We're still eating technically meat-tasting foods.
Eating meat, but it doesn't have to come from animals. That's just the old technology. That is, for thousands of years, the only technology that we have known for turning plants into this particular class of products that, you know, consumers love, meat, has been animals. Just like 200 years ago, the only technology we knew that could make a wheeled vehicle move was a horse. It was prehistoric technology. It was essentially unimprovable, just like animals in the food system. The minute you basically say, no, actually, meat to consumers, to meat lovers, is defined, the value of meat is defined by its particular deliciousness, flavor profile, the nutritional value, the protein, the iron, the convenience, the affordability, the versatility, and so forth. Actually, for meat lovers around the world, and we have great data on this, the fact that meat is currently made the way it is from the cadaver of an animal is not only is that not part of the value proposition, it's a net negative. It's not a net negative enough to make people stop eating meat. But boy, if they could have all the things they care about, all the pleasures of eating it and the nutritional value and so forth, and have it made vastly more sustainably without all the downsides of animals, no cholesterol and stuff like that, they'd love it. And this is the way that it's kind of exactly defines what our mission needs to be, how we need to accomplish this. All we have to do is to deliver those things that consumers value about meat without using that old technology. It's inevitable. You know, our mission, our success is inevitable, but given how catastrophically destructive the industry is right now, and what a threat to our future, you know, climate change, in which it is an overwhelming contributor, and probably even more the catastrophic collapse of global biodiversity, which is, we're in a very late stage of that, both of which the use of animals in the food system is culprit number one. So, you know, this is going to happen for sure.
This is a global solution, yeah.
Well, looking at it, you mentioned, you know, all of that, very important to note, but accessibility being one of the big things. You said if people have access to it, they would probably choose this, you know, over meat. And you've certainly done a really great job of that, you know, with the Impossible Whopper, with these different ways to get it out to mass consumption. And I want to ask for these products. I know that there's something with the Impossible Sausage that's going on, from what I was reading.
Yes, in a couple of weeks, Burger King is going to launch it initially in 5 markets. in their kind of flagship breakfast food, which they call the croissant-wich, or I don't know whether it's supposed to be the croissant-wich or the croissant-wich. Do we know?
Oh, it depends how fancy.
I better learn how
depends on how you
to
say it.
I better learn how to say that. But anyway, so that's going to be great, and it's. I think that's going to be super successful. But then we obviously want to. We already have other plans for the Impossible Pork, and exactly as you say, the trick is to get people to try it, to get people exposed to it. The repeat rate among people who try our product is phenomenally high. The thing is that everybody who's a meat eater has a very strongly held belief that anything made from plants is going to completely fail to deliver what they want from meat. And the way to solve that problem is to get it in their mouths.
Yep.
Get it to them.
Yeah.
Look, I've been to many a restaurant where the Impossible Burger was on the menu, and it's a delight to order it and to have that one. So you must be so thrilled with the impact that it's having on not only people's diets, but the world as well. But that is all the time that we have for to talk about Impossible Foods. If you want to learn more about it, where can people find about the sausage and pork and all the new things happening with Impossible Foods?
Well, if you want to keep up with the latest on Impossible News, you can go to our website, impossiblefoods.com. We have regular updates there. Sign on to our mailing list. And stay tuned. We're not going to keep it a secret when we have future launches, and we have a lot of exciting plans for the rest of the year.
I cannot wait, and we have to go get a couple of those sandwiches.
Yes.
Yes, we'll definitely get you some.
Did you hear that, everyone?
Yes.
Definitely.
It was on record.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in, too. Again, this is our live coverage of CES 2020. We've got more coming up, so stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
This is Pavi Dinamani reporting for Digital Trends at CES 2020. My mind is blown because I'm here sitting with Maria Menounos and Brenda Yang, COO of Rally Health. Right now we're at the Rally Health booth talking about this new digital health platform. So Brenda, question to you. How does this platform even change the game for people regularly in the healthcare system? Is it something you and me can use?
Yeah. Sure. So Rally is a digital health company, and we focus on simplifying the consumer health experience. Everything in healthcare can be pretty complex. We talked about it this morning on our panel. And so Rally is all about creating a unified experience for consumers to go to where they can manage both their health as well as their healthcare needs.
Okay, so when you talk about health, is it more like, okay, these are my bills, this is the doctor I want to go to, or is it more a unified, like, what is the quality of my health at this point?
It's pretty much all of that. Okay. So we're looking across the entire healthcare journey, from helping you get healthy, whether that's losing a few pounds or quitting smoking, to helping you manage your health benefits like your FSA or HSA, and ultimately navigating the healthcare system. So Rally has the tools that help you go, and if you need to find a doctor, if you need to understand how much something might cost you, or even just scheduling and paying for that care. So for us, it's really soup to nuts in terms of helping you with your healthcare.
Fantastic. So Maria, what is it that got you interested in wanting to invest your time in something like Rally Health?
So health was always important in my household. My dad's type 1 diabetic, severe type 1 diabetic, and then various family members were ill with different illnesses. I was always exposed to health issues, and I wrote about it in my books and such. And so, of course, the last 3 years, it became even more intense going through these brain tumors that my mom and I have been dealing with. And so Rally was interesting for me because we had a similar passion. We want to help people with their health.
Right.
And so I've been an ambassador for 3 years, and it's been very rewarding for me to spend my time with people who genuinely care to help.
Right.
And and leaders in a space that is so important to evolve.
Correct.
You know, I didn't have a primary care physician because I didn't know. Are you supposed to look at that like big book that they give you and try to find someone in network or whatever? I honestly didn't know.
Right.
And so it was a word of mouth thing. I remember trying one doctor, was not very comfortable, and then I just didn't have one because I figured as a female, okay, I have a gynecologist, I do that. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's not it.
That's totally me too. Yeah. I was like, Mom, don't listen to this.
Yeah, so I'm constantly yelling at my younger friends and the young women that I mentor at AfterBuzz. I'm always, my company, I'm always like, guys, you have to be focused on your health, get your annual exams, because I went to the doctor because I was having intermittent ear pain, thinking I had an ear infection. And if I hadn't gone to that doctor,
you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known, and who knows how bad that would have been for me. I don't even like to think about it. So for me, a company like Rally that is making it user friendly. So you go in, you know where your doctors are, you can pick them out. They teach you preventative care steps, nutrition, you know, even things like in this activation behind us, how to know when you need to go to ER or urgent care.
Yeah.
By the way, I still don't know how to go to urgent care. I still would be terrified of what the bill would look like if I went to urgent care because I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, and all I know is that, it's $200 just to walk in. That's all I've known my whole life, but nothing about why do you go in, how do you find a place.
No idea. And we only hear things piecemeal from people. Like, I know if you need to call an ambulance, oh God.
Oh, yeah, don't
call an ambulance. Right? And so there's so much fear in healthcare, and Rally removes that fear, gives you your control, gives you power, and it's so huge.
Yeah. So tell me, I'll ask Brenda this question. How is this platform different from, I have United Healthcare. If I went online to, my particular insurance, how would I be able to look at Rally differently from this? Or is this like an add-on?
How lucky is she?
Yeah, I know. I think it might be your lucky day here.
I am very blessed to have this opportunity.
Sure. So
she didn't even know she was eligible for
Well, and that's one of the things that we focus on. So Rally is actually available to over 55 million Americans. And consumers can access Rally either through their employer. So we work with over 200,000 employers, as well as different health plans. And so Rally it's this digital health platform that you can go to and really manage all of your health and healthcare. And that's what we believe is different and unique about Rally is that we're putting it all together
and
in one experience. So it's literally one URL that you're going to. You don't have to look at all of these different applications. You can go to just one spot to manage all of them.
And I have to ask about, is it like an app? Do you pay for it? What is it? What's the cost to a consumer?
Sure. So to the consumer, it's free. It is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Your employer pays, or it's available through your health plan. But it is available on web as well as on mobile.
Okay. And then in terms of say something complicated like mental health, where it needs to be more customized, is that something also that Rally Health invests in?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we're investing in, and something we will continue to invest in. Mental health is definitely a hot topic right now for good reason.
You're right.
So yes, that is something that is covered within the solutions that we offer.
Perfect. Maria, question to you. As someone who has not seen the behind the scenes of how Rally Health was developed, and someone like me, I'm a civilian, how was it from a UX standpoint? How easy was it to learn and use just as a normal day-to-day user?
So, fun fact, the founder, Grant Verstanden, was someone who was frustrated with healthcare himself.
Right.
And so for him, he was having, he had knee issues and knee surgeries and wasn't able to navigate the system. So he created it. So it was super simple. I'm just sitting here baffled that how long have you had United Health for?
I don't know, 5 years.
And you didn't even know that Rally was a part of your plan. So anybody who's watching this, you might have Rally. You need to find out from your employer because you're missing out on something that is so helpful. They incentivize you to go get your breast cancer screenings, to get if you're, you have a prostate, you get your prostate screenings, whatever it is.
Did not know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, and so I think it's something that everybody should be taking advantage of if you have it, and if you don't have it, you should be demanding your employers look into it and get it.
And then from a doctor standpoint, does it mean, do you get access to most of the doctors, good doctors? Like, how do I know? Is it like a ZocDoc? Can I get ratings? How is it like from a Uber standpoint?
Exactly. So all the information that consumers want, they want to know quality doctors. They want to know how much it's going to cost them. That's all integrated into the overall platform.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Maria and Brenda. This has been fantastic. That's it from us at the Rally Health Activation. For more ongoing CES coverage, do log on to digitaltrends.com/CES. And of course, stay tuned for more Digital Trends Live.
Hey everyone, I'm Caleb Dennison for Digital Trends, and for once I'm not standing next to a giant TV. I am standing next to a legendary Olympian, Mr. Michael Phelps. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no worries, thank you.
Awesome, and also we have Lauren Salata. She's the Chief Marketing Officer for Panasonic. Hi.
Thank you, hi, how are you?
I'm great. I love doing this because, I mean, obviously CES is all about technology and whatnot, but there's a lot of things that big technology companies are doing in communities all around the world and here in the US, obviously. So, Michael, for people who aren't familiar, you have a signature program as part of your foundation called I Am. Can you tell us what that is and what it does?
So my foundation, it's really basically trying to promote healthy and active lifestyles, teaching the importance of water safety, but also just this last year added a mental health component to it as well. Something I've struggled with, depression and anxiety for my whole life, and there are so many millions of people out there that are probably going through the same exact thing. So this is something that we feel can help you or help others out there, potentially could save a life.
Now, and this takes place through Boys and Girls Club of America, is that correct?
It's through the Boys and Girls Club and Special Olympics Worldwide. It's our 10th, it's our 10th year. We've taught over 30,000 kids to be water safe. You know, for me, it's a great stat. I love numbers. I want more. You know, so for me, trying to save a life, or I guess it is. Saving a life is way bigger than ever winning an Olympic gold medal. So every time that I have the chance to do that, it's something that's so exciting, and it helps me get out of bed every day.
That is fantastic and heartwarming. So tell me a little bit about how Panasonic comes into the picture. How are they partnering with you, and why Panasonic?
Well, for me, this is actually an opportunity that I was so excited about. You know, to be able to work with a company who, number one, has been around for 100 years. And if you think they're reinventing themselves over and over and over again, it's incredible to watch. And to be a partner, or excuse me, to be a part of the team, it's a tremendous honor. But I think really what we have the capability to be able to do, we can change the world. And I think with some of this stuff, you know, with our shared values and our passions that we have, we're going to make a difference, and it's going to be a big one.
Lauren, what was this partnership opportunity like for you and for Panasonic?
Absolutely. So as a top 14 Olympic sponsor, we felt that there was a very natural synergy with working with such an athlete as Michael. But more importantly, because of our shared values, at Panasonic, our promise is better life, better world, and contribution to society is baked into everything that we do, whether it's a product that we make, it's volunteer hours that we afford employees to go out and volunteer in the community. We felt that forming Team Panasonic to work with Michael and the rest of his team throughout the rest of this year to bring those numbers up in your program, but also align to our common stories. So we're really excited to be kicking it off here at CES 2020, and we'll be working together throughout the balance of 2020 for a few other activations.
Some of the numbers I saw very briefly earlier, I mean, how many kids have you already helped, and how many do you hope to reach just in this next year with this new partnership that you have with Panasonic?
Over 30,000 so far, but it's as I said, it's a good start. Where we go from here, the sky's the limit. I mean, I want to be able to make an impact on every single person's life that I possibly can. So for me, the sky's the limit, and I'm not going to stop until I feel like I've accomplished everything that I want.
That's amazing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that this was going on. I didn't know it was a thing. I'm excited to share this with our viewers and let them know it's happening. And what a cool place to do it at, CES 2020. Is this your first CES?
It's my second or third CES, but honestly, being in here, seeing everything that Panasonic has, like, I didn't even realize that they did some of the stuff that they have. You know, like, it's mind-blowing to see how many things can make our life easier.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and it's just, I mean, technology is, I mean, I guess I can sit here and think about it and do this, that, but it's mind-blowing. That's the best way of saying it. And it's truly, it's just inspirational to watch them do this over and over every single year, 100 years. I mean, saying that again, thinking about that and what they're still doing, it's incredible.
That's fantastic.
So fun.
One fun question, if you may, because I think we're running out of time. What is one piece of tech in your life that you just can't live without? There's not just one, I bet.
I don't even know.
I can answer that for you.
Okay. Yes.
Your wife told me the baby monitor.
Yes. Never mind.
The Panasonic baby monitor.
Right?
We have done, or my wife has done every bit of research you can possibly do with everything baby. And when we got this our new monitor from Panasonic, we've never had a monitor that stretches our whole entire house, can go through walls, crystal clear, like everything. It was mind-blowing. So it was awesome. As I said, I didn't even know about some of the stuff, so being able to see that, and we're on our third kid now, and we just found it. We're pretty pumped about it.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, the amount of baby tech that is available today is mind-blowing, and Panasonic obviously has been on the forefront of that. Really cool to hear that story. Thank you guys so much for joining us and taking a moment. It's been fantastic. That's me, Caleb Dennison at the Panasonic booth with Mr. Michael Phelps and Lauren, talking about new partnerships for Michael Phelps Foundation, improving the lives of children all over the place. Thanks for watching. I'm Caleb Dennison. We'll see you on the next one.
This is Pavi Dinamani reporting for Digital Trends at CES 2020. I am at the incredible Amazon installation, booth with Lamborghini. I'm here with Maurizio Reggiani, who is the CTO of Lamborghini. This is an incredible day. We're looking at the Huracan Evo? Okay. What is different about it and what makes it amazing?
It's clear. It's the first time that we install the Alexa embedded in the super sport car, and we are here at the CES exactly to present this innovation that is the first time where the Alexa is able to interact directly with the car with some commands that are functional for the using of the daily of the car.
So tell me the thought process behind actually incorporating Alexa. Why? Why did we need voice integration?
I think in a super sport car, more and more, you need to be able to give commands without to have a distraction. You can imagine what it means to use a Lamborghini at high speed and some command, for example, like air conditioning. You can handle air conditioning without to remove your eyes from the street. You don't need to move your hand from the steering wheel.
Right.
And this kind of commands will be really more and more important for the future in order to reduce the distraction of the driver.
Okay, and then why Alexa versus other voice integration?
Lamborghini is a global player. We sell all around the world, and let me say, Alexa is probably the most diffused system for voice recognition in the world, and I think these two elements together is the best possible.
It's a perfect mix, especially for accents. Like, I have an accent. It's a little difficult for Alexa to perhaps understand, but I feel like Alexa has been really, really good at picking up world over.
Yes, it's totally right, and due to the fact that more or less everybody at home an Alexa
Yeah.
system and is more and more familiar to talk with this system, also in the car must be something where don't generate trouble and must be really easy and friendly user.
Yeah, and this is something that's blowing my mind. Alexa is voice enabled, so she needs to hear what you're saying. But this car is a loud bad boy. How does that work?
This was one of the biggest job to do between the engineering of Alexa and the engineering of Lamborghini, to be able to filter the between the voice and the sound inside the cabin, and I think the result that was achieved is really outstanding because you can really talk with the car and the car is able to understand everything.
That's phenomenal. So do you need your windows up at all times, or is that preferred?
Is something that we take in consideration. All the system is clear that when you have a window open, is normally you are at low speed, otherwise you have a turbulence inside the car that is unbelievable.
That's true. What else do you think is down in the pipeline for you to improve user experience in the car? Voice enabling is one.
I think the more and more we'll able to give the chance to the voice to interact directly with the car. This will be something that improve the, let me say, the emotion that you have when you drive a car, because you will be concentrated and you have really the perception that you can manage everything with your brain using only your voice without to move nothing and without to take out any kind of attention from the driving, from the street, and from all what happened in front of you.
So I know we will check out the car soon, but what can she do in terms of functionality?
It's clear that today you can, for example, control the air conditioning. You can ask to have all the setup of the car, to have a visible what you can, and for example, you can interact with the car, with your house. You can ask to open the door of your house, to switch the lights of the garage, all what you want without to move from the car, continuous to driving and attention. And it's clear that the future will be more and more to discover new possibility that must be linked to with the product liability, with homologation, but it's clear that is a completely open road that we need to follow.
So when can we see this bad boy on the road?
Already this year, the car will be on the road worldwide, means all around the world will be possible to experience Lamborghini with Alexa embedded and to have all these commands available by voice.
By voice. And is this something that you can buy the Lamborghini only, like the Huracan, only with Alexa, or can you say, I don't want Alexa? Is that an option?
Will be something that will be offered like optional, so, but it's clear that at the end we talk about software that are embedded in a car, means it's something that more and more will be a consumer user experience.
Yeah, and I was reading about front loading, where the car is smart enough to tell you what the next move is. That's blowing my mind. Tell me more.
I think more and more what is called artificial intelligence for us is a kind of experience, and in the car must be able to understand what the driver wants to do, and more you must to be able to tell to the car what you want to do. In this, you will really able to create a marriage between driver and car.
Are we ready for a demo?
Yes,
Let's get in the car.
Please, enter in the car.
Yes.
It's all you.
Thank you. Hi, Philip. All right. Take me through all the steps. This is fantastic. I've never been in a Lamborghini, so I'm going to try to be cool. What are we looking at here?
We have the integration, as you just saw, and she will listen to your wake word. So if I'm, for example, asking Alexa, show my dynamics coordinator.
Showing your dynamics coordinator.
You see, she has direct access to these views, which shows the coordination with Lamborghini's powertrain. And so you can pull up functions. You can also, for example, change temperature. Right now we have 65 degrees in here, but I can ask Alexa to change the temperature. Alexa, change the temperature to 70 degrees. So you will see it over here.
Okay.
So she changed the temperature to 70 degrees. And so I can really just drive, don't have to take my hands from the steering wheel and focus on the road and just have Alexa handle the critical things.
Nice. And then this is interface in the car. What else can she do? Can she tell you you're going fast, or can you ask her questions about while you're driving, things about your just driving experience?
Yeah, so you can control temperature, fan speed, seat heating. You can also change the interior color. Alexa, change the interior color to red. So right now we have a blue kind of mood light, and now it's changing to red. But we don't want to interfere with safety critical things, so you can't do any things that might concern safety. So Alexa is staying in a space which is safe to operate. And of course, you can use all other things that you know from Alexa, like playing music, interfacing with your smart home, and you can also set destinations. So, for example, I can ask Alexa, find a Japanese restaurant nearby.
Here are a few nearby.
So she will list a couple ones here in Las Vegas.
Westgate Las Vegas Resort
And so when I select, for example, the first one, we'll hand over to the onboard navigation system, really like a tech integration, and just take us there. Yeah.
And this is great. It picks up with so much background noise just for you to understand, viewers at home as well. The windows are down and it's a really loud spot and it's still picking up on his voice, which is phenomenal. It's such an easy flow. Are we looking at any other improvements before launch? Is there anything else going to be added to the user experience down the line? Or this is set to what we're seeing?
This is pretty much where we want to be. Of course, we will take a lot of time to stabilize and before the launch make all tests. But yeah, that's already close to what you will see in production. Yeah.
Yeah, from a safety standpoint, I think this is phenomenal that you don't have to take your eyes off the road. Is there any reason to have to touch the screen a lot? I know you're doing it for the demo, but is there any reason for you to ever look at the screen?
Really, so everything works by voice. So Alexa has a voice-first experience, where we would want everything to work just by voice interaction. Of course, if you want visual information, for example, for a map, you can look at the screen, but you can keep your eyes on the road. That's primary. If you want to use touch interaction, we also have an option here. So I can also here play my favorite playlist. So I didn't say the wake word. In some situation, maybe it might be easier to touch the screen, and so that also.
And in terms of connectivity, are we looking at, is it 5G? What if we go to remote places? How safe is this reliable in terms of if we're in a remote area?
So Alexa will know how the connection quality is in the current moment. So there's an integrated internet connection here, which works on the road, and then it will adjust to whatever is the current situation in terms of connectivity.
No, this is great. Thank you so much for a phenomenal demo, Philip. This is fantastic. Again, thank you so much for watching this segment. I guess at Lamborghini, this is it for us from now. For more coverage on CES, do log on to digitaltrends.com/CES, and of course, stay tuned for more Digital Trends Live.
All right, there we go. I didn't get to sit in the Lamborghini, but it's still awesome to see. And thanks, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Digital Trends Live, walking through some of our favorite moments from CES. But don't worry, we'll be back live on Monday with another episode, so hit that subscribe button, whatever platform you're watching on, live at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, with all of the tech you can handle. So don't forget, go to digitaltrends.com. We'll see you right back here with another episode on Monday. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Digital Trends Live.